Space. It is a place of infinite mystery, a never-ending void of darkness and pure isolation. The only company to be found is that of the stars that surround you. It is a place where human morals and conscience can be forgotten, and the roots of evil intents sown. Truly, it is the perfect location for any horror scenario. Dead Effect is a first-person shooter developed and published by BadFly Interactive. They are a small team of developers, all with previous experience working in the AAA video game industry. Dead Effect started off as a video game for mobile devices created using the Unity engine. It released on iOS on September 13th, 2013, and Android on October 15th that same year. The developers were then known as InDev Brain, and the game was published by Bulky Pigs. It was originally available on the app stores for purchase, but switched to a freemium model in February 2014 with the inclusion of in-app purchases. On January 28, 2014, a Steam Greenlight page was created where the developers went under the name of BadFly Interactive. Less than a month later, on February 20th, the game was greenlit. The developers used the Steam Early Access program, which allowed the community to purchase the game and play it as it was being developed. The game fully released December 17th, 2014 on Steam and was available for both PC and Mac users. In total, across all platforms, Dead Effect has been downloaded over 3 million times. You find yourself awakening from a cryostasis sleep. The metallic room is cold and devoid of all human life. Confused, you begin to make your way through the ship. The only sound is that of screams echoing from within the twisted corridors and chambers. It isn't long before you come into contact with a researcher by the name of Professor Wagner. The stranger feels somewhat odd, but with no one else, what choice do you have but to trust him and accept his help? With his advice, you battle your way throughout the ship's claustrophobic halls and chambers, killing anything that lay within your path. Throughout each of the 12 levels of the storyline, you will find various things which will aid you. Healing stations allow you to restore your health to full, a blessing when on death's door, but it does leave you vulnerable while inside due to not being able to move until the process is finished. Credits lay scattered throughout each level, waiting to be collected by those with the patience and the willingness to explore. At the end of each level, the credits can be used to buy additional ammunition, new weapons, and weapon upgrades. Upon killing an enemy, there is a small chance it will drop a gold bar. These are a premium currency used to buy special weapons and upgrades. There are also tablets to be found containing information of the events leading up to the game. Finally, there are secret orbs which are collected by shooting them and are used to unlock each section of the game universe, giving backstory into characters and items. Altogether, the game contains more than enough to keep you busy. Dead Effect has an arsenal of weapons that would keep any action heroes at your trigger finger more than happy. The first you come across is the electromagnetic stun gun. It is a close-range weapon that fires 1000 volts of electricity. The weapon is powerful enough to kill up to 3 enemies with a well-placed blast. It does, however, have a long recharge period, leaving you wide open for any enemies to begin ripping you apart. It is a weapon of utter last resort. The Stig P320 is a semi-automatic pistol that is perfect as a fallback weapon for when your ammunition in your primary weapon is depleted. Its damage, magazine size, high rate of fire and good accuracy make it a weapon that even the most inexperienced of players could use with relative ease. If revolvers are more to your taste, perhaps the WWE 81 will be more suitable. It is a 6-barrel revolver capable of dishing out serious firepower that can take out even some of the toughest of enemies with a few well-aimed shots to the head. In the right hands is a real head popper. Perhaps you are looking for a secondary firearm of a more sci-fi nature. Then look no further than the Proteus X6. The Proteus is a futuristic handgun that fires photonic projectiles. It is an extremely powerful weapon, capable of destroying all but the more beefier of enemies in a single shot. Despite its power, its slow rate of fire makes it easy to become overwhelmed when facing off against large groups of enemies. Dead Effect wouldn't be much of a zombie game if it didn't have the iconic chainsaw. The Piranha ZX5 is an unlimited weapon of melee chaos. It rips and tears through flesh and bone alike with little effort. Against more armoured targets, however, it does take some time to cut through them. Handguns and chainsaws are perfect as secondary weapons. To survive a zombie-infested spacecraft, you will need more heavy-duty firearms. Sometimes a storm of metallic rain is what is needed to get the job done. Assault rifles have long been a favourite with those combating the undead. The first of 4 available assault rifles in Dead Effect is a TAR XR-12. It is a primary weapon of Unit 13. It may not be the most powerful assault rifle, but it is very reliable. If you were to require a faster firing assault rifle, look no further than the Thesis TDR-17. Its fire rate is faster than that of the TAR, allowing for you to mow through crowds of weaker zombies with ease, but with higher firepower comes higher recoil. Next up is the Turn 37S, high caliber assault rifle capable of taking down some of the toughest of enemies with few problems. It takes a step back on the rate of fire, unlike its wild cousin, giving it reasonable accuracy. It truly is a deadly weapon. Despite its powerful, reliable and easy use, there is one assault rifle that makes even the Turn hang its head in shame. The Deviant Arc 3 is the big brother to the Proteus handgun. Deviant uses photonic projectiles just like its little brother, but has a fast rate of fire, incredibly big magazine, and low recoil. It is the ultimate assault rifle for making The Walking Dead dead. For those who prefer to take a more up-close and personal approach, there are shotguns to cater to their preference. The Velvet 22R is the most basic of the shotguns that Dead Effect has up for grabs. It has substantial power, along with a decent sized capacity for shells, but its long reload time makes it a weapon that must be used at the right time. The Hydra C2L is a far more powerful close quarters firearm to that of the Velvet. It may not quite have the capacity of it, but the storm of buckshots that it is capable of firing into a crowd of zombies more than makes up for it. You can't have zombies without a good old-fashioned boomstick. The Juggernaut T3000 is everything you could ask for when it comes to a futuristic boomstick. It is a double-barreled shotgun capable of dealing huge amounts of damage while having a fast reload speed. Even the most fearsome of enemies cannot withstand much punishment from this beast. For those who like to show off some skill, there are 2 more unusual choices to be found within the Dead Effect arsenal. The Esper's V7. At first sight, this advanced bow seems to be capable of nothing more than shooting one single arrow at a time. However, it does have a secondary fire, which electrifies the arrow. Upon impact, the arrow sends a shockwave of electricity, perfect for a good old-fashioned zombie barbecue. The second is the Equinox TAC 380, a crossbow that Rambo would be most proud of. The tip of the Equinox's bolts is explosive. When fired, the explosive's countdown begins before turning anything within its blast radius into char-grilled pieces. That, of course, includes yourself, if you are not careful. It is an excellent weapon for setting up explosive traps for unsuspecting groups of zombies. I have, of course, saved the best for last. You can get your zombie Terminator on with the Vulcan T6, a minigun with an ammunition capacity that feels never-ending. It is a minigun. It turns zombies into headless, limbless torsos. Need I say more? There are also various explosives available, such as the HE and HV grenades. Players are able to set up traps by applying trip mines to the walls for the unexpected horde. To help better the odds, players can activate bullet time. It does exactly as the name suggests. It slows everything down, allowing for easier targeting of enemies, particularly the more dangerous ones. It is useful for getting out of tight situations, but it does take time before it can be used again. There is also the Devastation attack. Devastation sends a powerful shockwave around the player, killing or knocking anything caught in it to the ground. It is a great solution to get out of a bind when surrounded. What good is a ton of weapons if there are no zombies to shoot? The variety of different zombies is interesting. The most common of zombies are the standard zombies. Before the outbreak they were the standard members of the crew, pilots, medical staff, engineers, and the likes. They are slow moving, but are capable of lunging towards you if they get too close. They are by far the most plentiful of enemies, yet the weakest. Hazmat zombies are believed to have once been an engineer or scientist on duty before the outbreak. Their hazmat suits offer them a small amount of protection, making them slightly tougher than standard zombies. They are, however, easy to dispatch with a well-placed headshot. Minikins are the most unique enemy in more ways than one. First off, their size makes them capable of soaking up quite a bit of damage. They may be slower than most enemies due to their swelled stomachs, but there is a particular reason for this. Their stomachs contain an acid which they can regurgitate to use as a deadly projectile, making them lethal among large groups of zombies. They also have a second form, where they can charge towards you wielding a chainsaw. Let them get too close, and it will shred you to pieces in no time. Military zombies were once a member of the ESS Murden security force. Their behaviour is the same as that of the standard zombies and hazmat zombies, but their heavy armour makes them extremely tough. Aiming for the head is a necessity against these juggernauts. Anywhere else would be like using an airsoft gun. Grenadiers were once explosive experts of the ESS Murden security force. As their name suggests, they are capable of throwing grenades at you. This makes them the most dangerous of the regular enemies. One direct hit from a grenade and it's game over. Their slim build also allows them to move at a rapid pace. If they get too close, they commit kamikaze, taking you with them. Cannibals are the result of human and animal DNA combined together. What you get are humanoid beings with pure animalistic nature. They care about one thing, and one thing only: to consume thy flesh. They are agile, and their claws and teeth are capable of ripping through the thickest of armour. They are an enemy that needs to be dispatched quickly. Hornets are gigantic humanoid beings, created for nothing more than absolute destruction. Due to implants containing an AI, they are extremely intelligent by zombie standards, and their armour makes them tough as nails. Their weapon, the Vulcan T6, allows them to fire an onslaught of bullets before stopping. A more shoot and cover tactic is required to take on this monstrosity, with minimal injuries. Finally is the Razor. Razor was once the captain of the ESS Murden, Captain James Razor Phillip. He is a mountain of a man, yet do not underestimate his size. He is fast and capable of charging towards you, knocking you off your feet, only to then pummel you to death. If you are going to face off against him, ensure you have plenty of ammunition and firepower. You are going to need it. Even if the campaign has been completed, there is still survival mode and biohazard mode to conquer. Survival mode is exactly as it sounds. You are stuck in an arena style area with 3 minutes before help arrives. All you have to do is survive. With a constant onslaught of zombies hunting you down, it's not quite as easy as it might sound. The closer the timer gets to reaching 0, the more zombies begin to appear. Only the most accurate and well equipped will be able to take them on. Allow yourself to become cornered, and it's game over. Biohazard mode is slightly different. Before starting a biohazard run, you get to choose its length and difficulty. The longer and harder it is, the better the reward. You must survive wave after wave of enemies, each one becoming harder than the last. It can be long and grueling, but survive and you'll be handsomely rewarded. Biohazard also has an additional level available than the standard 6, a large unique map which will challenge even the most experienced of players. There is no mistaking that Dead Effect is of B-horror movie influence. As you can expect of B-horror movie, it is not going to be perfect. Dead Effect certainly has a few flaws. The first and most recognizable would be the movement speed. While suitable for mobile devices, as a game on PC, it is slower than it should be. This will result in frustration for some players. The weapon purchase and upgrade screen is an exact copy and paste from the mobile version. This direct copy makes it confusing and somewhat awkward to use for PC users. The tablets that can be collected throughout the levels are completely black, making them hard to see in the dimly lit rooms of the spacecraft. Very often one could be right in front of you and you wouldn't even see it. Frustration is further increased due to the major plot points being hidden within the tablets. Attempting to find over 100 tablets just to experience the entire storyline is quite obnoxious. Aside from those few issues, Dead Effect is a solid game. It is silly, over the top, and anything but to be taken seriously. It is a B-horror zombie film in video game form, and is exactly as it is intended to be. Nothing more, nothing less. If you can look past its slower pacing and minor flaws, there is a fun zombie shooter to be found. It would seem that Dead Effect was but a testing of the water. Due to its success, a sequel has only recently been released. It boasts a far larger game, with more weapons and enemies than present in Dead Effect. With an increase in gameplay comes an increase in chances of there being problems, however. As to whether Dead Effect 2 can keep up with the standards that the first has set, remains to be seen. Thank you very much for watching, and join me in the next episode, where we go back to 1993 and look at a first-person shooter that was, shall we say, doomed from the very beginning.